And a great big hey howdy hey to all my goofy goobers out there. Welcome to Animanic Commentaries with Comic Auzi.
Yeah, and no fancy languages today because I can't really pinpoint one from this movie.
It's just going to be your thing, isn't it? But yeah, for Fantasia 2000 is what we are watching tonight. A concert feature, the second and still yet second sequel, the only sequel to a film older than Dumbo. Like, real, like, wait, yeah, no, wait, yes, no, Bambi.
Yes.
Well, Bambi had a, well, that wasn't a...
Bambi's younger than
yeah, that wasn't a
Dumbo.
That wasn't a sequel, and that definitely, like, Bambi 2 wasn't a sequel. Bambi did come after Dumbo. So yeah,
Bambi 2 was a prequel, yeah.
So in other words, well, it was an an in-between-quel, you know, but like, that teaser's stuck in my brain forever. Anyway, but like, yeah, because like, Fantasia, so the only Disney movie to older than Dumbo to have a sequel. Dumbo was gonna get a sequel, direct-to-video sequel, but you know, it's like, never came to be. I guess because they didn't know what to do about the crows, and then they decided, let's just can it, just shut this all off, shut this down. But
well, it was canceled along with many other sequel plans.
I mean, Disney's version of Toy Story 3 before you know, Eisner left and Iger took over and made smart decisions like buying Pixar outright. Their version of Toy Story 3, you can probably find the synopsis for it. It's pretty funny. But anyway, and funny in a ways like it would have been horrible. It would have been really bad. But yeah, so in terms of this film, it's much shorter than Fantasia. So you give us a lot of credit on that one, so we won't have to spend forever. There's no intermission. So by proxy of it being much shorter, it also has no intermission. And
it's not 2 hours long.
It's not 2 hours long. It's also
yeah.
Want to point out that in this film, they even the segments are shorter. They do only like a small portion of the Carnival of the Animals for the Flamingo segment. And actually, I think we can talk about the celebrity stuff when it comes up, but I'd like to discuss I would like to discuss, well, I guess in a way we will be talking about nothing but the animation, because the animation and the music convey the storytelling. Like, for once, I think we'll actually be discussing how the animation impacts things. But I'm thinking, like, in the future, when we got these more story-based movies, we'll go ahead and give our preconceptions and what we think we remember about the movie. Then we'll actually talk about the story afterward. But while we're watching the movie, we'll discuss the animation and the techniques used in order to make it look the way it does. Because this is Animanic Commentaries, we got to talk about animation.
Yes, that means you're going to take over 90% of that conversation then.
I'm sure there's animation things you can mention. Like, see, I can give the perspective of someone who does animate, and you can give the perspective of someone who likes animation. You can talk about, like, what movements you really like, you know, all that stuff.
The trivia and story stuff.
Yes. Trivia stuff is definitely super interesting. It's like story stuff, you just, like, as long as people are media literate, they can take in the story, of which this movie has, well, multiples. It's an anthology of segments that some tell a story and some less than tell a story. In fact, I think there's really
it's interesting. I was like that 4-year-old who was dragged to this movie, and I'm like, Mom, I don't want to. Maybe like 5 minutes later, I'm like, is this kind of pretty?
Yep. So basically, I think what we got going on here.
Any hair flowing scene, dear.
That's true. You do love the hair. Yeah, dig the hair. And there's some hair in this movie, so we'll get there. Actually, we'll do it right now. Everybody get your copy ready. I probably should have said that earlier. Mentioning, yes, it is on Disney+. It features the classic logo, so there should be no issue of syncing up our copies. I am watching via home media, and if anyone is ready, just go ahead and get on into it. Get your copies ready, and we'll go ahead and start. And while the time is apropos, you might think to just turn the stream on your phone so you can take it away and grab a snack while you're at it, because you really shouldn't begin. You shouldn't start a stream going hungry. So let's go ahead and get your copies. Fingers at the pulse. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go.
And of course, begin with that like that.
The orchestra tuning up.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just a perfect way to open.
Do you have the captions on?
I turned them on just now. And here, oh no.
There we go.
It's this asshole again. I remember that voice. I remember that. Ah, shut up. Stop spoiling things. Stop, spoiler alert. Stop revealing the entire story before I see it.
Well, it's telling the important bits. I love that they're kind of treated like, what do you call them? Like that snippets of the film strip.
I love that.
Or
It's a nice
paper.
It's like, do you remember Fantasia? Do you remember Fantasia? If you don't, we're literally spelling it out. A little foreshadowing to one of the segments we're going to see at the end there.
Yeah, we see the paper sketches.
And he mentions, the number that opens our Fantasia program is music of this third kind. Hey, I love that. Love that they did that. That's really cool. And now, by the way, this, you see the animated backdrop for the orchestra? Love that. And beautiful. Really following the spirit of Fantasia, where it's just like, get into the beats. And this is kind of the, oh god, the splash. And whoever was in charge of keeping the glittery light on the edge is like, just give them a medal. Give them an award. I think, like, this is the first, like he says, like the guy said, this is music of this third kind, where it's just kind of surreal imagery that you might think of. And there we go. It's just kind of wild and boom, just butterflies.
Remember when Disney used to experiment with animation?
Yeah. I love, you know what else is, like, everyone noticed probably, is they're doing the same thing that they did with the magic carpet in Aladdin, and they're mapping a texture onto the 2D drawings. And it's really cool. It gives them this papery texture. I guess that's not really a story, but it is a character moment, you know? Like when they're just playfully playing with each other. It's like a mother and her daughter or something similar.
We can't whether that's a mother or daughter.
Well, I mean, I'm just making assumptions. They're using CGI for that.
Yeah, it's a parent and child, definitely.
Yeah. Ooh, flashing.
Fly, my pretties, fly!
And then the evil ones come in. It becomes a little less abstract. But honestly, now that I really think about it, right? It actually does make sense that this is what would happen. Because it's like, well, when you start having abstract visuals in your head, eventually you start thinking about the way the music is making you feel, and you may inevitably create a story, because the whole idea of Fantasia is you're at a concert, you close your eyes, and this is what you see. That's kind of the whole idea. So the fact that there is kind of a story forming here, even if in a small way, it actually does make sense.
Bats?
A lot
they
of
always
people
look like bats to me.
They always just look like black
butterflies
to me, because I never really perceived them as anything other than what was already on screen.
And that's the thing.
And then
art is up to interpretation. I see bats and butterflies. You see butterflies and evil butterflies.
Yeah. And that actually adds to the abstract nature of it. And then, God, the peeling of the shadow. And then the callback to the beginning with the light flares. Did he get away? I think he got away. Introducing Steve Martin. It's, just making a friggin'... Just having his, I mean, to be fair, that's not necessarily too egotistical. He can play the banjo. He can play an instrument.
I feel like he kind of just ad-libbed that.
Probably, but like also
it's
just
like not you, but I don't think it was a real thing.
Yeah.
At the time. Now we have a bunch of celebrities doing the online courses. I've taken some of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like he said, originally they were going to make these.
No, he's doing this on purpose.
you heard that. He actually played musical notes. Like, especially since he's ad-libbing this, they probably just, yeah. And I love that they give this to the violinist here.
Again,
And
about how
that's-
art is up to interpretation.
And when you hear the opening of this track, you think, oh, this could be Roman. Like, the troubadours and the Roman armies coming back from a...
Yeah, that was a nice transition into the starry sky
Yeah.
there.
The birds are on twos here. That's really nice. Oh, and the Aurora Borealis popping in. And if the CGI in the last short may have been a little subtle, I think the birds are CGI. You just can't tell from this distance. The whales.
I feel like some of these backgrounds were helpful later when they did Brother Bear.
You know, probably. Probably.
You know, it's also making me wonder, what would have Frozen had looked like had they gone the more 2D route?
Probably would have looked somewhere halfway
I-
between this and Brother Bear and their other European fairy tales like Little Mermaid. And
Ew, baby whale.
this is really Disney kind of dabbling in 3D character animation.
Yeah,
Though-
but the eyes, you'll notice, are 2D
I was gonna
animated.
say, it's like the eyes are looking a little more expressive than the CGI looks capable of. Because you'll notice one of the things about having the whales here is that, they're
then,
they're
whoop.
keeping their solid shape, and this is where the whales come in and.
And now they fly.
Yep. And poor little baby can't figure it out yet. Wait, no. And to the music, it's like, it's such a calm moment in the music when he finally figures it out, and it's like, and then because I think they're listening to the music like, oh, so that's when he figures it out, and then this is where he starts getting a little cocky about it. I love the eyes. God, yeah, they're definitely hand drawn. I just needed to see a close up of it, but yeah. The way they integrate it too, like, but also makes it seem kind of easy. Okay, and then all the special effects, like the Aurora Borealis, those birds are 2D drawn, and the water are all 2D as well. Oh, and they dropped the parent whales down to 2s for that moment.
And the parent, yeah. And the parents are like,
Yep.
you made your bed,
Oh, no.
now lie in it.
Oh no! Oh man. Oh god. They also
Yeah,
did a
what's
really
that-
they also did a really good job at disguising what was painted background and what was gonna move there. Like, they actually did a really good job blending that.
Yeah, what sets this Fantasia apart from the original Fantasia? The original Fantasia pretty much had a consistent style throughout all different segments.
Well, it was the classic Disney style. They didn't really know
Yeah.
how to do
But-
anything
But
else.
with these segments, it's a different style with every segment.
That is true, and that would have been a great idea for Fantasias going forward, because like different animators have their own vibes. It's like you could make Fantasia the future of multi-animator projects and basically say,
Yeah.
all right, let's have one artist like basically do like 90 or 50% of the animation on this, and then a bunch of other people matching this artist's style will go ahead and it's like, and then everyone gets in on it, and then is that a double-edged sword? What with
It's a
having
double-edged sword.
with having like what, multiple people just completely going off? No, I feel like the understanding of Fantasia would actually have some inventive consequences from new animators bringing new blood into it. Fully CGI
And-
segments.
And maybe
Having multiple
they
art
could
stuff?
continue-
No, because like the art style would be consistent in the single segment. and then a new art style would be in the next segment.
Scribe, was that a stab at Bride of Discord? Oh my god.
I don't know if he meant that. I don't think he meant that. Yeah. Had a feeling. I don't think he meant
going
that.
at us today.
You know, Scribe, I just read your Pinocchio comment about the flying whales, and I'm like, you know, if Pinocchio could turn into a donkey, I'm sure he could turn into a bird as well. So I don't think flying whales will be too much of a trouble for him. Oh god, this ice cave. This always didn't this always like convey the vibe of like a cathedral with the way that it opens up and it almost looks like the columns, you know, leading down to like the front of the chapel, you know? Scribe woke up and chose Violet. Bella, be nice. Belle, he really didn't do anything. God, we're just being mean tonight. I think they got CGI going on the little flecks of
ice.
Ice, yeah. I mean, it's a simple simulation, so it probably wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, you know, if Disney had like been brave as they were here and like experimenting with different styles, maybe their 2D department could have done more.
Yeah. Cause I think as we'll go forward, I think we'll start noticing that Disney did start following a new artistic trend in their 2D films, which I'll point out as we go forward. But like,
yeah,
this movie is absolutely not in that at all.
I feel like their 3D movies are looking almost exactly the same now in terms of character design.
But we'll get to that when we...
You got the same faces over and over again. As much as I like the movies.
And this is also another... It just occurred to me to mention this. But, like, this is actually a nice traditional kind of Disney vibe. It's like, your main hero, like, either is the cutest and friendliest one, or is the most realistic one. In the princesses, they usually... The main character is the princess, so they go for a realistic beauty for them. But when your main character is some silly, goofy guy, then he looks like an adorable little whale. Maybe not actually what a baby whale looks like. So he has more expressive eyes. But then these giant whales who make up this large procession, you know, all just look legit like whales. And also,
or flock, they fly. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a school of fish. What is a...
It's a pod... I told you, it's a pod of whales.
I think flying doesn't make a difference. It would still be a pod.
They're a flying pod of whales. A pod flock, a flod.
A flock.
Or a pock.
And then...
Humpback whales really are majestic.
They are gorgeous creatures.
Now I'm thinking of my sister-in-law who's studying being a marine biologist. I'm sure
your sister-in-law's a marine biologist and you're a friggin' you're a lifeguard?
She's more into sharks than whales though, so I don't know.
Well, sharks are beautiful too. Very, very cute guys.
Okay, I'm a swim instructor who's lifeguard certified.
Yes.
There's a difference. If I were fully a lifeguard, I'd just be sitting around all day.
Ah, fair enough.
I'm not sure we saw it on IMAX. I don't think I had glasses on.
No, it's not IMAX as in 3D. It's IMAX as in the giant encompassing screen. That's what IMAX is.
Back in those days, anything that was in IMAX was in 3D.
Huh. Well, that would have been super interesting. The barnacles on his chin like a beard. Yeah, that's character design 101. If you can't literally draw facial hair on this creature, then do something that conveys the idea. I mean, somebody mentioned like Dory's dad looking like he has a receding hairline. It's like, yeah, you use what you can in order to convey things that would otherwise be impossible to convey in a character. A re-release in IMAX? Oh, I'd believe it. Yeah, like if they really re-release this. And I wonder, because we're watching this at home where it's in a standard widescreen format, so you have to wonder like there's like probably a bunch of the top and bottom that we're not seeing. Hold on,
standard and widescreen are two different things. It can't be both.
Well, well, there is no Well, I mean,
standard
like,
is full screen. Widescreen is widescreen.
well, no, standard isn't really full screen anymore. There is a standard widescreen of like 16 by 9 or something in that ballpark, and then there's more of a CinemaScope, which is a much wider widescreen. So, but yeah, God, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. You can see the water ripples on top of them, and it's like, were they flying? I wonder. And it's like, but that hardly matters. It's like, is it like a metaphor for how swimming feels like flying? It's like, that's the thing. It's like, it's an interpretive piece of art. The story about like the whale's migration, that's what it's really all about. I love. You like jazz?
and the blue lighting on the piano.
Well, I mean, that's just the blue lighting from their orchestra room. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Most modern piece we have in these Fantasia segments. I think he was still alive too when they got the rights.
Yeah. It's
starts from a simple line on a piece of paper. Speaking of experimenting with styles.
And isn't this exactly what 101 Dalmatians opening credits did? A similar thing with the dots appearing. It's like, it's so
that's true.
Interpretive. Actually, remember when I was saying,
how do
like,
you figure that out? How each sketch line matches with the music?
Well, see, it's deceptively simple. I don't think that, like, they're not drawing it from scratch. They're basically erasing and they're animating it backwards, essentially.
But you have to plan how many erases there are with each frame.
Oh, sure, absolutely. But for animators, that kind of thing becomes second nature. I love, like, I was mentioning in Mulan how it's set, how, like, the ink brush, like, this is very similar, where it really sets the stage and the vibe. And God, I love the designs.
So this guy's name is Duke, named after Duke Ellington.
He looks vaguely like a bald Duke Ellington. I love, yes. and you gotta give it to Eric Goldberg and also just Al Hirschfeld, like the influence of Al Hirschfeld's characters. But like Eric Goldberg animates like this, like all the time with this really over the top, very Looney Tunes way. And it's very, very, like the characters almost feel like they're made of liquid, you know? Yeah.
How did it even happen without breaking the donut? Job scarce.
Oh,
Speaking of which, history repeats. So this guy's name is Jobless Joe. Not really based on off of anybody in particular.
Or schmuck.
2 eggs, any style, 25 cents.
Oh, so this is probably the Great Depression or something similar. Welcome to New York City in the 1930s. Eggs for 25 cents. Can you, man? I can't even imagine that anymore.
So the concept behind this was to see how, you know, people in New York City from all walks of life, how they influence each other even without knowing it.
This guy's the very, and he's like, well, yeah.
At least it's paid.
And this is the most solid story. And it's multiple characters who go through their own stories, and honestly ought to be a testament, especially with how short this segment is. Like, sure, the piece of music like it's 5 minutes, it's 6 minutes long. It's the length of a standard Looney Tunes cartoon, just to put a
this is like 12 minutes, right?
Okay, so it's the length of 2 standard Looney Tune cartoons, but like,
yeah, it's the second longest, I think. Well, it's definitely the longest segment of this movie.
And here's a character. He's not even one of the main characters, but he conveys a lot of personality through only the music and the animation, because you're able to time his movements to the music to make him. I love it.
It's the same people coming out of there too.
Well, that's just the economy of recycling animation.
All right, so this little girl is named Rachel after Eric Goldberg's younger daughter.
Yep. And not just the
and
one pushy one.
this guy's named Flying John.
Down to the
he was modeled after a Disney historian.
And hey, there's the mom and dad squeezed up on the subway.
Yeah, yeah. He was modeled after a Disney historian who also was inspiration for Mr. Snoops and the Rescuers.
Also, I think this is just brilliant comedy as well as being a great art-saving technique. Even in the hustle and bustle, everybody's just all got places to go. Does this happen a lot in New York? Because I would hate to have to take 2 elevators to get to my room.
Yeah, so Al Hirschfeld, as Scribe said, Al Hirschfeld was shown this short before his 96th birthday.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm absolutely sure that he probably loved it, and that Eric Goldberg, like, again, like, it's the Al Hirschfeld influence that made the genie the design it was, and thus influenced the cartoonish animation in Aladdin. And I mean, you can see they're doing it again here. They have like the line where it gets thinner and thicker, so there's a weight to it that conveys portions of shadow. Like the lines are thicker under his sleeve than they are on top of his sleeve. Kids. Yeah, that's definitely definitely not safe. And
this
also,
guy,
this bullshit probably would still happen today. Like, just...
He's really fighting his morals and his hunger.
Hey, jackass! And then
and then he hates it.
I thought that was super funny as a kid, because like, a police officer wouldn't do that. It's like, yeah, a police officer would totally do that.
Yes, oddly enough, reminds me of how my parents would have me try ballet, t-ball, karate, soccer. Anyone else have your parents drag you out to different activities? Swimming ended up being useful in the long run.
Also, little girl and her story are both wow, this woman.
Oh, you know, she's a nanny. From her perspective, like, she has to get this kid on time to her appointments because she's paid to do that. Yes, swimming. We never allow the kids in with floaties. We don't.
Actually, I just noticed something. I feel like the girl's adorable and comedic little blink could have been in time with the music a little more. When she was in the swimming, like when all the floaties and stuff, it actually could have been a little more in time with the music by filling in the middle of the beat.
There's a caricature of the composer.
Yeah,
supposedly when he's composing this song.
Yeah, in the 1930s. Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you know, it's in this world of the 1930s or what.
Yeah, I definitely love Little Monkey. Oh, hey, John.
You can see how similar he is to Mr. Snoops in character. Well, maybe not.
He's a much friendlier and happy-go-lucky guy.
Not personality,
design,
but like his design.
Like his tiny little mustache and his curly mop on top. Though being in New York and having a wife this fancy, he's definitely better dressed than.
Yes, Squad.
He's better dressed and he keeps his hair well.
Yeah, yes, Squad. I once had a kid come in with floaties. I had to explain to the parents why we don't allow floaties. Like, we're teaching them to swim by themselves and float by themselves.
The purpose of the class.
You can put them on while you're at the swimming pool by yourself, but no, we're teaching them to float by themselves.
Also, as a kid, you love the over-the-top bouncing animation. You love the characters in there. Man, they're just so down on their luck. But as an adult, you actually understand. It's like, he's at a job he doesn't like. She's doing things she doesn't really care about. She wants to spend time with her family.
Too.
I guess I'll go over it as we go on, like, because the scenes become the dreams, because the animation.
I remember my mom, when we first watched this, explaining this moment to me.
Yeah, and then we see.
Yeah, so it stuck with me.
And we see the lines. I love that. We just see the lines like Al Hirschfeld characters, and then this is all she wants is to be with her mother and father. It's like, it doesn't matter what she does, she just wants to spend time with them. This poor guy, he really is so down in the dumps. He just is desperate for a job. Clock it in, man.
I think most millennials can relate to nowadays.
He doesn't even like dream of like swimming in piles of money. He clocks in. It's definitely a dream of most millennials these days. And this guy doesn't like his job. He really wants to play in the jazz
and you know, the build up too on his moment.
And because of these moments where different instruments play the same section, it's able to convey, God, the way those arms are drawn is just so beautiful. Also, I want to say Eric Goldberg definitely animated this moment in particular. This guy, he's just a dreamer. Everyone else has like, he wants to be free like a bird. A real dreamer.
He wants to be away from his wife.
Literally getting above it all.
Yeah, you married the wrong woman, dude.
And then...
He just wants to be himself. The bill.
I love how this pompous little jerk looks like he's smiling even though he's not drawn with a mouth.
Oh, if only some things were only $16.
Once again... Oh, 1930s. Oh, how novel.
I know, inflation. Yeah, I know that feeling, dude. It's like you're doing one thing, but you have the heart of an artist.
Yeah.
Like while I was on my way to work, I'm like, oh my gosh, I figured out how to fix my novel. And I'm like, I can't do that until I can get to my notebook.
Right. Also wanting to point out that this guy, he's like, the job is stable, but it's like the only job a man of my color could probably get in this city. And how did the other jazz greats make it? Just throw caution in the wind. Let's go. Off he goes.
I mean, we're most of the jazz greats.
I think most of the jazz greats, like, again, they were shat upon in their time just from all the rich white fucks, you know?
Mm.
And now he's like desperate for a night shift. He's like, hey, I already have a hard time sleeping anyway. Let's go.
Yeah, and he just quit his job. He doesn't even know what he did for that guy.
Yeah. And it really is kind of a butterfly effect of like, let's see how everyone impacts each other.
You know what? Now I realize why none of the taxi drivers stopped for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oof.
It was
like,
yeah.
No.
It's because I'm purple, isn't it? And here's some money, kid. And then he bounces. Man, I mean, when you have
on the parents' windows,
when both the parents are breadwinners, there's no chance they're working the same job.
Especially in the 1930s, where they would have had to both work.
Yeah, the Great Depression, like to even afford the nanny alone.
I mean, that's most of the parents I worked for both had full-time jobs.
Yeah. That's why you need it, but then you also need both full-time jobs to even pay for the nanny as well. And it's New York City. I'm pretty sure what is or isn't expensive. And just, yep. Hoisted on her own petard in a way. And then he's like,
wait, where'd my wife go?
The Harlem Jazz Talent Night.
Ooh, a delicatessen. That's German. Of course, we are in New York. Yes.
So it's probably a Jewish delicatessen.
Yeah.
And of course, Times Square. Before that, Jumbotron was added, and I mean, Times Square has always been a bunch of advertisements, but like, look at that neon. That's really pretty. And it kind of ends on the lines we opened with. It's just really great.
Hey, Batmiller.
Yep.
I put a spell on you.
It just didn't. That's not rude or anything.
As though she sounds more like Georgette here.
I mean, that would have been portrayed pretty literally.
Would have been cool.
Yeah. Here we are. been interesting to see that.
Well, didn't we sort of get that Bumblebee one?
We got Bumble Boogie and Make Mine. No, not Make Mine Music. Melody Time.
Love this one too.
Yeah.
And they fixed it.
And not just doing like not just making it like a complete story, but like once again we are at the precipice of experimenting with 3D animation.
Okay. So Hans Christian Andersen trivia. Actually, the title really depends on the translation. There's been Gallant Tin Soldier, Brave Tin Soldier, Steadfast Tin Soldier.
Disney decided to go with Steadfast Tin Soldier, which I like the multiple syllables. Rolls off the tongue really well.
All right. So first of all, this dancer in the story is supposed to be a dancer made out of paper. Well, here she looks like she's more like a porcelain music box here.
Yep. And I think, unlike our whale segment, the entirety of these characters is CGI.
Now,
which is a
style animation for a movie.
Yeah, I think they're kind of sort of doing that with Wish in a way, just with the... But I think one big difference between this and Wish is that they're actually taking into account what they don't have in the way of smear frames and such. And they're doing a lot of things on...
It's like, no, I can't harass this girl in front of soldiers.
Yeah. Geez, it's the fuzz. They're like, come on, dude.
Okay, so the reason that he has only one leg is because the guy who made the soldiers ran out of tin. But yes, him looking at her and thinking she only had one leg was a thing in the story.
And it's really cute.
Like me.
And it translates through the music really well. It's like, this story elements do kind of line up with this music, and so you're able to like.
However, like in the story, these two actually interact.
I love the meet cute.
And yes, and even after it's like, no, wait, no, why would she be interested in me? She's like, oh no, really, I like you.
But she doesn't even know what she did. Like, she didn't do anything. It's more just his perception of things. Okay, now Jack is like,
Yeah, so the story it depends on the translation. He's like described as a goblin, a gremlin, an imp.
I love the interpretation as an evil-looking Jack in the Box jester, because I mean, fucking Jack in the Box, they're jump scare. They're baby's first jump scare, basically.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
Like, will you marry me already?
To be fair, they are toys.
Yeah, you're right. Who knows how long their lives will last?
I love that. I love that she actually went to the effort of stopping him, and then, well, the only thing that stops her is literally being put under glass.
In the story, supposedly it was like the kids playing roughly that caused them to be thrown out the window. Something like that.
Well, the fire and the fire in the box, the fire in the toy box were definitely 2D animated. So was the rain. Now that box is probably 3D. And the window is definitely 3D. They're using deep canvas in a really nice way. Oh,
yeah,
no.
the goblin's less active in the story. All he really does is just warn the soldier, like, hey, don't go staring at her. She's not for you.
What? But there you go with Disney. I mean, they interpreted Hades as an evil villain because of the mono-Christian perception of friggin' Greek mythology. Whereas in this, they interpret like, oh, well, let's literally just put them at opposite, and the 2D on the water in this 3D like sewer pipe, or the loop-de-loop.
But yeah, and in the story, it was just some kids who found a soldier. Oh, look, here's a soldier. Let's put him on this paper boat and put him down the drain.
Oh. And it's a little tiny little like little tree branch. You know what else it could be? It could be interpreted as the as the children just playing pretend like in the original story, because this is artistically representative. The soldier isn't moving, more so that he can't move without someone playing with him. And because he's man, I always loved the way these rats were drawn. See, okay, so when I say the beast should have been ensconced in silhouette before his reveal, this is what I mean. A nice blue shadow and the entire thing is just a full black silhouette with glowing eyes. That's what I'm talking about. And like artistic lighting like that.
But now did this inspire the No, I think the Nutcracker tale would have been...
I think the Nutcracker, the Tchaikovsky composition is older than most Hans Christian Andersen tales, isn't it?
I think so.
And then...
And the fairy tale's older.
The fairy tale, yeah, exactly, because the Nutcracker suite and the ballet and the compositions were based off of a book, as a lot of productions are.
The Nutcracker and the Mouse King was written in 1816.
I love how
Hans Christian Andersen was towards the latter half of the 19th century.
And then that's about as crazy as. And then 2D animated humans, it's 2D animated like I love this. You see this like. The only things that are literally, like, the only things that are CGI, well, okay, that box doesn't count, but, like, the only things that are CGI are not alive, for the most part. It's like, every single toy in the children's room is, like, CG. And then, the happenstance. And he's like, I never thought I'd see this toy again. And because it's probably this little boy playing pretend with the dolls, is that he's like, finally they can be reunited. And here we go again. Nice reuse of animation there with the clock. And he just moves in immediately.
Remember what I said? They fixed this story.
Right.
Same way the ending for The Little Mermaid.
So
Hans Christian Andersen had a thing about lovers dying.
Yep. Here he goes again.
So what happened was that kids were playing with the soldier roughly, and then just threw him into the fire, and then a gust of wind blew the doll into the fire as well, and they burned together. And I'm like, what kind of fucking ending? But in this version,
the kids are still playing too rough.
Goes into the goes into the fire instead.
The kids are playing too rough for the toys still, but it turns out to be a happy ending. Love the way they were able to animate that. In fact, I wonder if there are any segments where they cheated and actually just used 2D animation on some of the characters, because that was pretty complex character animation for him to swing up
I'm like that. What was the point of him going through all that and then coming back home, reunited with the doll, only to...
Oh, is that Eric Goldberg? Oh, that's Eric Goldberg! Guys, that's Eric Goldberg with a beard. Or at least with a heavier beard.
There's Mufasa in the background.
Yeah. Now this is a celebrity you want introducing things. I mean, he introduced the Disney's History Tales with like Paul
American
Bunyan,
Legends. American Legends. We
Paul
just
Bunyan,
watched that the
Johnny
other day.
Appleseed, John Henry.
We watched that the other.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. We watched that the other day for Thanksgiving.
And of course, Casey Jones, not Casey at the back.
Oh,
love this. Well, yeah, Eric Goldberg, the guy who handed it to you, the guy who directed this segment, and I believe it was his wife who directed the Rhapsody in Blue segment, actually.
Yeah, no, Scribe. She didn't lose a leg, but she was posed so that it looked like she had one leg.
That was the whole deal.
She was blown into the fire, and I'm like, what kind of ending is that, Hans Christian Andersen?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Where did I watch what?
I mean, if it's not on Disney Plus, the individual shorts are, and if you want to find it, just go search Amazon and buy a DVD. Because like,
oh yeah, I have the old DVD. My brother is like, hey, can we watch this? I mean, it's Thanksgiving, it's American stuff. Like, yeah, sure.
I love.
But we're not here to talk about that.
I absolutely love the way they're painting the shading on the. It actually, you know what it looks like it looks like it's using digital techniques instead, but it looks exactly like Monstro the Whale, doesn't it? Like with the way you can see the shading like fluctuating. It's like it's very ripply.
Props to this guy for trying to be different. Yeah, this is like the one song I sort of remember how to play on the piano. I mean, it's like it's a very fun finger exercise.
And then I almost wonder if Eric Goldberg was the only animator on this segment because it's so short. Especially doing awesome design things like with the flamingo's like knees just being you know, just floating there, and look at that cheeky grin.
It's like you cannot.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Destroy my hobby.
Oh my god! That flamingo made me think. Oh, Figment the Dragon.
Penn and Teller.
Some people think this kind of stuff is overbearing, but at least it doesn't last for. But after watching the original Fantasia very recently, I gotta point out that.
Yeah. Yo, bunny.
I am going Bunoi. I kind of like the celebrity intros, especially since like they're on point. Let's have literally Mufasa introduce the Carnival of the Animals segment, right?
And then we have these magician comedians
introducing
with
the classic short
with magic.
You really can't tell that hand is fake until like he just, you know.
I know, that's what I know. The first time I saw that, I was like, you know, like 4-year-old me was like,
okay, Penn and Teller have this one magic trick. I want to mention it because it's on my brain now because you said that. They had this whole magic trick where they pretend to do the Saw the Woman in Half gone wrong.
Oof.
Where they basically have a giant buzzsaw and then there's just a bloody mess on the and it ends up with a bloody mess on stage. It's really funny.
Never speaks.
And then
it's like, well, yeah, but know what?
And then I mean, it's kind of obvious that he pockets the hair and then
bunny.
And then just pulls a bunny. Just pulling a bunny out of his pocket. But a bunny who is no doubt wearing the same ribbon.
Hey. Hello again, Yensid.
Now we get to talk about this animation part 2. We get to do it all again. Imagine Dopey in this role. No, I really can't talk about no.
Well,
Dopey.
Their idea for having Dopey in this role really explains Mickey's attire. You know, with the whole sleeves.
Yeah, it does kind of look like maybe they started animating it as Dopey and then they just
the shoes
switched out.
even.
They just switched out the head for Mickey and put glove lines on the back of his hands.
I mean, it's not entirely in, but like at least the outfit that was.
But no, yeah,
inspired
that's probably why they thought, oh, Dopey could be a Sorcerer's Apprentice. But I love that they made it Mickey because if it was Dopey, he'd be wearing purple and green, which would be so close to Yensid's blue. But now Mickey Mouse's iconic red shorts are traded out for a red robe and blue shorts, which honestly helps. Like the blue shorts help tie him to his, you know, his tutor.
You remember the Nicolas Cage movie that came from this?
Yeah.
Now, I remember. Okay, but I remember watching it, and then we get to the part where he brings out the brooms to life, and you hear the dun dun dun. Like, oh, okay, finally, we got the whole part that this movie was based on.
This was the whole point of Disney
like
making a live-action remake of the thing. So I always recommend other YouTubers because they create such good content. But I actually want to mention one in context to the fact that Mickey's design change is actually tied into it. Defunct Land mostly talks about theme parks and stuff, but he also does Defunct TV. And in one of his Defunct Land episodes, he talks about the craziest party Walt Disney ever drew. Yeah. And one of the animators drew an invitation.
Thing, I mean, not the slave thing. The sleeve thing that just happened, I think also kind of came out of Dopey.
That's also from Dopey, yeah. But as I was saying, in that episode, they mentioned how the invitations for this party were drawn by one of the 9 old men, and that guy he drew one of the Disney artists. He drew Mickey with eyes like this on the invitation, and then some Joes at the newspaper comics department asked, "Is this how we're drawing Mickey now?" And then Walt was like, "All right, yeah, that's how we're drawing Mickey now," and that's why he has the eyes he does here. This is basically, I mean, even though Mickey still went through a few design changes going forward, like his last theatrical short before the Mickey's Christmas Carol, what had him drawn in the Mickey Mouse Club design, Mickey Mouse Club design, you know. But this is modern Mickey's design, you know, with the eyes so close together. That's what he looks like. You meet him at Disneyland, they even managed to make his face look like this.
I need to show this guy Once Upon a Time at some point.
I really do.
Especially when they put the Sorcerer's Apprentice in there.
I mean, to be fair, they probably did a better job with the Sorcerer's Apprentice than the fucking Sorcerer's Apprentice movie.
No, because the sorcerer at one point gets turned into a mouse!
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes.
And you know, because it's a Disney show, it was on ABC, it's like they did that on purpose.
Yes. I mean, he starts out human, but then at one point he's turned into a mouse. That's them.
I love it. I absolutely... I mean, what more can be said about this animation that I didn't already say, like, months ago at this point? Because it's like...
I remember the epic Mickey stage that was inspired by this short. But the thing is, you had to go up and up and up before the water level rose to you.
Oh, that's
It's like there was a time limit. I ended up failing so many times because I like missed one little step and like, no, don't go back down to the water. No. Ah!
God. And this animation gets recycled everywhere. I'm pretty sure, like, even Fantasmic is still using this footage. Like...
I mean, for a show called Fantasmic.
Well, barring that, it's also just about Mickey's dream, and this animation is literally Mickey's dream. It kind of fits pretty well. Like, that's the whole... Even Kingdom Hearts replicated this short. Kingdom Hearts replicated Let It Go. They went for the whole song for some damn reason. I don't know why. Maybe just a flex on Disney is like, look what we can render in real time on a console, and it looks exactly like the movie. It's like, you fuckwits. I imagine Disney's pretty mad about something like that looking as good as it does. So yeah, go watch Defunct Land and go watch their video. Go watch his video on the craziest party Walt Disney ever threw. Not only is it an interesting story, but it'll actually show you like where this Mickey Mouse design originated. It's really cool. And then of course with Mickey wearing the blue shorts and the blue hat and the red robe is just a beautiful color combination.
Well, you shouldn't be sleeping on the job.
Yep. Especially when someone else is doing that job. It's like, wait, we didn't finish job training. This wasn't in the job manual. Like, Mickey's just absolutely, like, he really fucked up on the angle of teaching the broom how to do this. He showed him how to do the one thing. The one thing he didn't show him how to do was stop. It's like, it would be as simple as to, you know, it would have been.
And here's Mickey going on full-on axe murder here.
Yeah. Love this. And the light, and if it wasn't axe murdery enough, it goes red. And you notice, I don't know if it's an optical illusion or not. I'd have to color pick it in Photoshop to discover if it was. But the shadow was straight blue, the color of his shorts, where the light was red, straight red like his robe, which is just brilliant.
Black and white, back to color.
You know what I would have loved, and I think I may have said this last time as well, I'll have to go back and check, but I wish this was still in black and white until he opened the door. You know what I mean? Then short crossfade to color. You know, kind of a Dorothy Wizard of Oz thing.
Like, how big was that room?
With the blue shadows. It's not the size of the broom, it's the size of the magic.
No, the room. How big was the room?
Oh, the room.
The space they were in.
The room and whatever secret tower or castle this wizard lives in is just, it's a non-specific amount of space. It's giant. But here's a tower window.
No, Scribe. I'm pretty sure the waiters at House of Mouse were the Mary Poppins penguins.
Yeah, the brooms were the janitorial staff at the House of Mouse.
Yeah.
And everyone knows. Help! if you've ever seen Fantasmic in person or watched a YouTube recording from many of those Disney park vloggers, everyone knows when Mickey's like, they show that footage and he's like drowning, so he's like, oh! Geez, I know Mickey might have almost been having a wet dream, but this is ridiculous.
I do wonder how he was able to turn the pages. Well, on top of the pages. How are you able to turn the pages while you're on top of the pages?
Cartoon characters can do anything if you can't see how he does it. So if you can't see how he's doing it, like you only see the top of the page turning, then he can do it. That's why we need House of Mouse on Disney Plus. Yeah, but I think the Sonic of the South crew basically guarantees that it'll never make it to Disney Plus.
Oh God, this is like. So, name one of the oldest animators. It would have been like if one of them had gone all crazy while Walt was out of the room.
Milk Call.
Milk Call, yeah.
No, actually, no, I lied. One of the animators to go crazy probably would have been like, the silly animators, like the ones who animate the goofy characters, like, Ollie Johnson.
That eyebrow raise too.
That's
also
a very
based on Walt Disney.
What I meant to say is that, the wizard, the sorcerer here has Milk Call vibes. Like, sure, the animators, like, based him on Disney, but Disney probably thought, oh, they're doing a caricature of Milk Call. That grumpy old guy is like, sure, it's a caricature
and you never even realized that Merlin was based on him, too.
That Merlin... At least Merlin was slightly more polite. He definitely blew his stack a few times.
Nah, but this is like the over your shoulder watching everything you do, Walt.
And you know what's even funnier? Is that
Mickey, you're grounded. Oh. And it's Wayne. It's our Wayne Alwine.
God rest his
Mickey
soul.
now. I do like that kid, that little bit in there, like tribute to the original conductor.
Yeah, because he was the conductor for what we just saw. He may be dead, but he's still a conductor.
And he's still there.
And here's our transition point for, like, we've gone from the flat colors.
And now we had the Roger Rabbit style of animation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Mickey's coloring looks more like a billboard for Disneyland. That was really overly rendered for an animated character. Like, even Roger Rabbit wasn't that overly rendered, mostly because of technology.
But like
still.
him, you know, fixing Levine's bow tie and all that.
Oh yeah. I imagine that's pretty simple.
Yes.
Like, just attach a wire to his bow tie and then just let go of it.
Yes, but I mean, shows how far they've gone with animating on top of live action now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Why
Mickey,
are you even showering, Donald? You're about to get in rain.
And then we transition from the old guard, the older animators animating the classic Disney characters, to basically the Renaissance, the Disney Renaissance animators animating the classic Disney characters.
I love how they include not just the...
Yeah.
They include all the animals that can in here.
All of the animals.
Not even just like your standard lions and tigers and bears thing. They get pulling the polar bears and the kangaroos and the orangutans. And the rabbits.
And I don't think the religious thing can be ignored because
hey, wait a minute. Those are the same kind of eagles as Restaurant Down Under. And those definitely look like the Jungle Book elephants.
Yep.
So those
we got a lot of
Asian
cameos in here. I actually want to point out, yeah, because like, it's because you think, oh, it's just the rendering that looks different compared to classic Disney. No, there is a quality to the modern Disney animation that feels very different than, you know. Even the turtles can't move much faster.
But the snails move faster than the turtles.
Also, just want to point out, this is definitely not biblically canon because Noah would not have been white.
Yeah.
He was 200 years old. Yes. He would have had a long white beard, but he himself would have been tanner than your Mr. Universe contestant.
Tell that to every Bible epic there ever was.
Yeah.
Except for Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, because like in Prince of Egypt, which was like released around the same time as this, Prince of Egypt actually had everyone being brown, accurate to what it would have been.
but you know, we also wouldn't have had these anthropomorphic ducks.
No, I mean, oh yeah, you're right. This is definitely not canon. The events of this biblically told story are completely untrue, except for the anthropomorphic ducks. That part was totally real.
Non-canon Canaan. I'm joking. Canaan was later.
Also I also love how, well, biblically accurate would be that.
Oh, and the ducks.
I love the, hey, look, hey, it's the lizard from Rescuers Down Under. And then the griffin and dragon and unicorn.
The griffin and the unicorn laughing.
I absolutely love that angle. Like, though what's really interesting about this adapting the Noah story is that biblically accurate, we would see a handful of dinosaurs getting on this boat. You know? Like, the fact that we don't see any dinosaurs on this boat is kind of making me upset.
Well, remember...
and it's the beaver from the Lady and the Tramp.
Okay, dinosaurs and humans did not coexist.
I mean, the Leviathan would say otherwise, but that's completely different. That's a completely different topic of discussion.
Look, he can swim.
Actually, I know why the dinosaurs didn't make it on the Ark, because there was this like article or something my mother read about, like how about there was an archaeological dig that found human skeletons next to dinosaur skeletons. I don't know if there was a massive 40-day event that was responsible for that.
Maybe we did have a Flintstones scenario.
We probably did. You know, humans and dinosaurs at one point like probably did roam the earth together. Especially if you believe the biblical accounts that the Garden of Eden existed, and that means that all of the animals existed there at the same time. But, you know, that's neither here nor there.
No, you must go find land.
But what's
must go find land.
But what's even better, what's even greater about it is that you could take the interpretation that unicorns and dragons just didn't make it on the Ark, and then kids could be like, so unicorns are real. In the same way that dinosaurs are real, which is really cute.
Disney wasn't the first to do that. You ever heard you got your green alligators and long neck geese, the humpty-back camels and some chimpanzees. There were cats and rats and elephants, as sure as you're born. The loveliest of all was the unicorn. And then went on about how the Ark, like Noah couldn't find the unicorns.
I haven't heard that. That's really funny. Also, the other thing is, like, when everyone knows Pomp and Circumstance, those ba ba da da, but like, I think this really probably opened a lot of people's eyes. Like, oh, this piece of music is a lot longer than you think it is. It's like, yeah, it really is.
Yeah, we're used to hearing that one bit in the graduation ceremonies.
It's like the funeral, like bum bum ba dum. That piece of music is actually much longer than that one little.
And of course, the lions are at the head.
Bum,
and llamas.
Bum. Llamas! Foreshadowing. We'll get to that in a couple weeks.
And here's a joke I didn't get until later. All the bunnies.
Yep. Love the whole... That was a really weird skip over that whole... I always found that animation a little clunkety.
Because nothing ever happens to Daisy. It only ever happens to Donald.
She could have literally stepped over the hole pretty easily.
And the snails are last. The snails are last.
You know, the snails were pretty quick to the Ark initially. Aww.
Yeah, imagine
and I love this whole story about how they thought, which makes this reunion all the sweeter. See, you want to talk about Disney fake... You really want to talk about Disney fake-out deaths? It really works when the audience knows that they're not dead, but the characters don't, because you can bring a lot of real, like, oh, but you're right there. He's right there. Oh, no, just turn around. It's like...
Yeah, this is probably my second favorite version of Donald and Daisy. The first one being the DuckTales reboot.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Angela Lansbury.
God rest your soul, Mrs. Lovett. I hope there are meat pies in heaven.
Man, I forget how short this is.
Yeah, it's, like I said, no intermission. You know, I think another reason is that they aren't doing the entire piece like some of the whole opening number. I think they truncated the composition, right? Like they aren't actually playing the whole piece of music. They're playing especially Carnival of the Animals. They just took one segment out of the Carnival of the Animals. I'm sorry, I just finished watching Centaur World, so all I can think of is the elk right now when I see this guy.
Oh boy. Yes, people, he did try to show me Centaur World. I could not stomach the first episode.
I'm gonna just show you a picture of the elk because the elk looks more like it comes from Horse's World, and it's like, but yeah.
Okay, so it is an elk. Ugh.
I mean, it definitely looks like an elk here, like with the fuzzy thing. I mean, like I said, I was literally just watching Centaur World, so all I can think of is the Rift workers' work is never done. We toil and sweat here in the sun. The Rift workers work to keep the worlds entwined. Centaur World and the world of humankind.
Yeah, and here's Persephone here to bring spring.
Persephone, the goddess of spring.
I noticed she just emerged from the cave, too, so I wonder if that's just a reference that she's come back from the underworld.
That may very well be true. Oh, I have an interpretation. I'll talk about that later when we get to that point. But like, it's so funny because I watch overly sarcastic production a lot, and you guys should too. Yeah, you want to talk about hair flow, honey? This woman is nothing but hair.
Well, hair that kind of like acts like just a cape of grass here.
It's really God, that is always so pretty. Whoops.
And nothing grows here.
Nothing grows here. Which is kind
towards
of
it.
Which
right.
She also feels is kind of ironic for where it ended up. It's like you can't grow on a volcano, but you know, like the end of spoiler alert. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen this by now. And we're talking about the animation. Ooh, the Firebird. Oh God, the demon faces in the smoke are really good. This really is this movie's Night on Bald Mountain. Get out of there, elk man!
Yeah, we gotta end with some kind of creepy mountain creature,
Honey,
don't we?
I get that you wanted to leave, but you left your keys to the timeshare. Here, you got. Hey, just Hades coming back. It's like you left your keys behind.
Maybe.
Hang on, I'm coming down. Hang on, I'm coming down to bring them. I'm being silly and facetious here, but like,
yeah,
maybe it's just
I don't know. It
brain.
Feels like this isn't a volcano. It feels like it's more like Hephaestus / Vulcan or something.
Hephaestus, yeah, that would make some sense.
Yeah, the guy in the forge.
Yeah.
Or at least a friend of his. You know, maybe this is Mount Vesuvius.
It didn't look like Mount Vesuvius.
No.
Need to talk about your car's extended warranty. It's kind of flat.
Yeah, you're right.
Woof. Just beautiful. And now she looks like a poor lost sprite. Like she was a beautiful flowing like goddess, and now all but nothing is left. And of course I loved this segment growing up because the Firebird is just fucking badass design. Talk about
like,
your hot temper.
You woke me up for my nap! You woke me up for my nap! I was sleeping!
God damn it, I've been hibernating too! And the volcanic ash, which is actually really good for regrowing things. Natural forest fires.
Unless you're Pompeii.
Well, okay, yeah, but natural forest fires are actually really good for the forest in the long run. They're actually really good.
Don't give people ideas.
No, natural forest fires.
They're going to take that out of context.
If you
know it.
if you toss your lighter or your cigarette, or you don't put out a fire when you're done with it, you will cause this to happen, and that is not good. But forest fires caused by Mother Nature. Mother Nature's forest fires are good for the forest. And potentially, your accidental forest fire might not be terribly bad, but it kind of gets a forest off its circadian rhythm. So remember, only you can prevent forest fires. Dumbass.
I like to think of this guy as like Bambi's cousin. Because, you know, his animation is very similar to how the Great Prince of the Forest was animated.
He is the Great Prince of this forest. It's like Elk's rule here. Welcome to Southern Ontario, I guess.
That's like, she's not, oh man, it's just how she just, yikes. She's so small now and crumbling.
It's like, what can grow here? And it's like...
And just you know, the peeling off of her skin there.
But you see the peeling off her skin, that much like the volcanic ash is, there's a regrowth that must happen. It's like, you must peel away the old to bring in the new. It's very beautiful. It's just the music is so quiet. I have it turned down so we can actually talk over it.
Peel away the old to bring in the new? Wow, do you think it's just like what Fantasia 2000 is?
I mean, what if he was Bambi's ancestor? I don't know how closely related elk and deer are, honestly. Like, as an animal.
Yeah, like we peeled away the old in animation and brought in the new. Same with the music.
That is true. Definitely, like, the pieces of music that we get are very... But the thing is, we haven't, like, peeled away the old. Like, I'm more in reference to the nature themes of the short, not the animation
Yes, but also, like, we're ending with the whole rebirth and rejuvenating.
That is true.
You mean, remember, Disney went through a dark age, too.
Yeah, that is true.
It's a perfect note to end on for this.
It's like, bring in the Goddess of Spring in Disney's golden era, and then the Horned King comes in the dark era of Disney films. And then the Renaissance.
You're right. This is technically the second time that Disney's done a Persephone-centered short.
That is also true. Their first, like, yeah.
Well, if you count the Persephone in the background of Hercules, it's actually their third version of Persephone.
True. That is true. Was there a different version of Persephone in the TV show? Because that would make her 4.
She didn't show up in the TV show because they couldn't figure out what to do with her, which is disappointing. We saw Demeter, but not Persephone.
I love how she turned into, like, water and then rained down on there. Like, it took me the longest...
Call back to the first short we saw.
Like, yeah. I mean, if you interpret those as butterflies, you could just as easily see them as moths or little paper crafts.
And now she's a lot fuller.
She's back to her grassy appearance, and what once may not have grown, now the soil, the terrain has softened. You know, this is true, actually. My neighborhood is actually resting on a dormant volcano, just completely dormant, like, overgrown and everything. Actually, I wouldn't say dormant, maybe more like extinct. Like, it will not fire ever again. And honestly, that makes sense because I think most mountains were volcanoes at one point, but then stopped when, like, they just couldn't. They're just too damn tall. But there you go. Music notes ends. Okay, I want to read the animators. I want to read who animated on what segments, because... God, what a beautiful ending. Roy Edward Disney, and God rest his soul, too. Directors in sequence.
It's a shame that this didn't have Roy... No, this didn't have Roy Disney's opening.
Host sequences directed by Don Hahn. Donald W. Ernest, conducted by James Levine. Mr. Levine!
Because I think the VHS had Roy E. Disney's intro.
The sources. Oh, the DVD did too, actually. Before you got to the DVD menu, it had his intro.
Yeah.
Lisa C. Cook as associate producer. Get to the animators. I wanna artistic supervisors, artistic coordination and visual effects, layout, backgrounds, computer generated imagery. Steve Goldberg? Wait, Steve Goldberg. Why does that sound? It sounds familiar for some reason. And I love this. Makes the whole thing feel that much magical. More magical. Editors. Oh, hey, this is some underwater, like, ice. Director Hendel Butoy. Rhapsody in Blue. Direction and story by Eric Goldberg and Susan McKenzie Goldberg. Then the concerto was directed by... Okay. Direction, animation, and story. Direction, animate. I knew it. Eric Goldberg was the only animator on the fucking thing.
And came up with the concept for that one.
Well, of course he did. It's such an Eric Goldberg short to do. It's like, hey, what if the
Joe Grant did. Joe Grant did, as I was saying.
Joe Grant?
Yes.
Ah.
For the flamingos.
Ah.
As I'm reading.
Sorry. Didn't catch that. And here are the animators. Pines of Rome, Symphony No. 5. A lot of animators. Rhapsody in Blue. I swear Eric Goldberg's name's got to be in there somewhere. Piano Concerto No. 2. Tim Allen. Probably not the Tim Allen that I'm thinking of when you think of Tim Allen. And then, yep, there's no credit because Eric Goldberg was the only animator. And what a great short for Eric Goldberg to animate on. It's like, let's have the friggin' 1919 version of the Firebird Suite. Is that just like a different...
That
recommended Bluey again.
Well, remember that over the years, sheet music gets lost or edited.
Fair enough. Rough in betweeners. But it makes me wonder: is there a more recent version yet, as well, or an older version that did exist and they had access to, but they didn't use? Makes you wonder. It makes you think sometimes. Makes you think.
It really makes you think.
We live in a society. Computer-generated imagery. All right. And this would be Disney's CGI department, because between Deep Canvas for Tarzan and the character animation...
Tony Anselmo.
Yep.
Voiced and animated in here.
He didn't voice the entire Oh, that's right. Nope, never mind. I forgot. Never mind. He did talk. I forgot.
In the shower.
I totally forgot. Sorry. Imagine what Fantasia 3 would look like. Okay.
I imagine there'd be a lot more CGI.
Okay, no. See, that's the thing. I think that would be a resurgence of some different animation styles, including CGI.
I don't know. Like, knowing Disney,
they can outsource to other studios like fucking what's Titmouse or the people who did Breadwinner, this Cartoon Saloon. They can outsource to different studios. And can you imagine Mercury Filmworks were the animators for the first season of Wander Over Yonder? Can you imagine, and the Mickey Mouse shorts, so can you imagine what Mercury Filmworks doing a Fantasia segment might look like? And of course, the cartoonier Wander Over Yonder and Mickey Mouse shorts, but they also animated the Lion Guard and Jake and the Neverland Pirates. So you can wonder what like Mercury Filmworks could do in a Fantasia segment. That would be great. And honestly, I think if Disney ever... I'll talk about it after the credits because there's so much beautiful music. And I know you guys can't hear it, but it's distracting me. Live action and visual effects. Well, of course they have makeup artists for the celebrities. You gotta look good for the camera. It's like the camera adds 10 pounds, so you gotta add negative 5 pounds of makeup, so it balances out.
Kitty cat. Hello, sweetie.
We do have a lot of indie animators too, right? It's like we have Glitch Productions. Ooh, imagine Glitch Productions doing a Fantasia segment. That would be interesting. A special thank you to the entire feature animation family for the dedication, support, and encouragement, and all that jazz. Because I didn't manage to read the end. Motion picture created for Disney. Oh, the Steadfast Tin Soldier background I just noticed of the castle tower dollhouse thing. They were doing this a lot, weren't they? I mean, Hercules, Aladdin, they did this a handful of times. I mean, they even had Jason Alexander go, "Good night, everybody."
And I'm sure Steve Martin's like, yeah, let me be the butt of a joke, please.
I mean, Steve Martin's definitely a guy who takes things in good humor. He's definitely he's a very good comedian.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to see him being the butt of the joke, watch his cameo in The Muppet Movie. He's so funny as the waiter. It's just so great.
Cat, just sit down.
So that was Fantasia 2000. The stories, there's not much to say, but the stories do speak for themselves in the moment. And because music helps it feel more emotional, I don't think your nitpicky motherfucking, cinema sins whingers would ever, criticize this movie for its flaws. Except, animation error. But like, the stories are emotional, and I feel like they all create vibes. Rhapsody in Blue, yeah, probably my favorite. And second place would probably be the friggin', again, I like the painting, I appreciate the painting, but I like the cartoon more. So my top two are like, number 1 is Rhapsody in Blue, number 2 is Carnival of the Animals. And honestly, just because, and I think behind that, because of its cuteness and its family-oriented vibes, I really love, I think after that, I would really love The Steadfast Tin Soldier, and behind that would be Pines of Rome.
Yeah, for me, it's Rhapsody in Blue and then Steadfast Tin Soldier. And probably the third one for me is Noah's Ark, mostly because of cute Donald
Pomp
Daisy
and
moment.
Circumstance, probably at the bottom for me. Sorcerer's Apprentice gets an honorary first place because it's a classic that can't be beat.
I don't count it in this lineup because technically it's part of Fantasia 1. It's not fair.
But no, it is part of Fantasia 2000 because this is...
I'm not going to rate it with the others because it's part of the original set.
Actually, hang on. I'm gonna do something here, guys. I'm gonna see if there's a... Hang on. I'm gonna check something. I wanna see something. This might... I have an idea. I have a big brain idea. It's big brain time. Oh my god, yes.
What you doing?
Oh, wait. Yes. Go to the template. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm bringing it over here, and I'm gonna screen. I'm gonna share.
No idea what you're doing.
I'll show you in a moment. It's okay, here we go. No, not that one. This one. There we go. Okay. I'll screen share it to you. But like, yeah. We're gonna do. I'm gonna share my screen to you. We're gonna do the Fantasia 2000 tier list. I'm gonna rank it.
We don't have to do this, sweetie.
Yeah, well, I was going through. Wait, why are the classic Fantasia segments in here? Those aren't segments in the.
I think it's counting all of Fantasia.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and just let's add a.
I'm not sure I want to do this.
How do you add one? Not in this movie. So I'm gonna go like, so I'm gonna put those ones down there and just ignore the order. The order of those ones does not matter at all. That's probably, no, that's not an item ball mountain. So we had 1, 2, how many of these damn things do we have? Let's check how many of these we had. I can count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so yeah, that's part of the other one. Okay, so yeah, we only had 8 segments in this movie.
That was the first one in the first one.
Oh, the abstract art one. Yeah. Okay. So now we're done with that. Sorcerer's Apprentice S tier. It's absolutely gorgeous, and Rhapsody in Blue is also S tier. It's just freaking great. But it's of course behind Sorcerer's Apprentice because you can't beat the classics. Let's see. I'm gonna put Carnival of the Animals as I'm gonna raise this up. I'm gonna put it in C tier above A tier. C4 cartoon. That's my cartoon tier goes above A tier. That's what it does. Cartoon tier goes above A tier. Those are the rules. I don't make the rules. That's just Steadfast Chin Soldier. Definitely, I love it. So it's definitely an A+, A tier for me. And same for the Surrealist segment. The Firebird. I want to put the Firebird like down here. And I'm gonna put the whales. A lot of these are just A tier. I don't think anything's B tier. I'm gonna put.
Is there a point in this rating system?
Honestly,
you pretty much just rated them all the same.
Well, see, it's you read it from left to right, so the leftmost is the highest in said tier. Why did I realized that I didn't unblur.
That's not what I'm talking about. You pretty much rated it all the same.
So yeah, there we go. There's my ranking for the Fantasia 2000 segment specifically.
Not that it's really a ranking.
It is. It's like you can agree with it. You can agree that it's a ranking, or you can disagree that it's a ranking. It's not a ranking, then you don't. It's my ranking. I'll do what I want. Multiple things go in S tier. It's just whether or not they go at the top of S tier or further down in S tier. That's how it works. It's just. So yeah, that's my ranking for the sevens. Yeah. Can we have a link to that? Oh sure, yeah, you guys can. I can send a link to it. Yeah, absolutely. I'll put the link to the tier list in the description. So yeah. So and I think if Disney were to do Fantasia again, what would you like them to do, honey?
Oh, so we're actually talking about my opinion now? Okay.
Yes.
Great. I don't know. I was prepared to let you go on. You go on then.
No. I want to hear what if you have something to say, do you?
Not really.
All right. Queen of Sass. Hey, honey, you're the Queen of Sass now.
Not really. Just go on.
Anyway, no. Quad says you're the Queen of Sass.
I can't tell, but the internet stopped working.
Okay, anyway. But if Disney were to return to the Fantasia concept, there's only one thing they could possibly do in order to make it work. They would need to do a movie. They would need to do a release called Fantasia Forever. All right? Or Fantasia Eternal. Or Fantasia Eternity. It's just something like Fantasia, some kind of artsy title, right? Some kind of artsy title that means that it will live on forever. And the concept is that Fantasia will release every year, once every year. And this will be the new title sequence will be used every single time. This new title sequence for Fantasia Eternal will be used every time there's a new release of Fantasia. Or it's like or like a new one will be made up for the 100-year anniversary of Fantasia, which is coming up soon, actually. It's coming up pretty soon. But it's like once every 3 to 5 years. Well, that's I guess once every 3 to 5 years, yeah. And then in between that time, the Fantasia Eternal can run at theaters in the Disney parks. You can have Fantasia Eternal be an attraction, and it's like, what you will have here is a set list of shows, and today will tell you exactly what the shows will be today. It could be like every show today will show these segments, or these shows at these specific times this week, the whole week, will show of different variants. So like you hit these segments in this order, and then at this time of day, the 12 o'clock show will have these segments in this order, right? And you can have that schedule on the Disney Parks app, and you can get it from Town Hall in a physical printed copy. And it's like, it would be a way to keep Fantasia going on forever. It's like, that was the whole point of the concept. And basically, you could have, like, in the theater, is, like, you have the introductions of these segments by the... Like, have the introductions of the segments being done by veterans of animation and concert players, you know? Like, just have veterans of these industries do these introductions. And then you can... And thus-wise, you can make new introductions for every single one of these. I think what I would do for some of the Fantasia 2000 stuff is because... in regards to the Fantasia concept, I feel like you could take like when you hear the title Pines of Rome, you could totally just have him cropped out and put on like a different Fantasia background to make sure that everything, because like CGI, you could probably just cut him out and use his intro every time. And just get rid of the original Fantasia intros, like when you do those segments, create a new, shorter one by animation veterans who study these things, or like musical veterans, like talking about Leopold Stokowski or some of the concert players who were in the original Fantasia. But like, Fantasia 2000 didn't succeed because the sound wasn't equipped in every theater. The sound they used, probably the sound system, like the 7.1 surround sound or something even deeper, or something like that. Which, yeah, that's definitely a fair assessment. Back when Fantasia was new, movie theaters were all kind of, you know, had standard sound systems to a certain point. So, but nowadays, different theaters have different sound systems. But because most theaters have good sound systems, even the lower tiered theaters, I think a modern Fantasia would work a lot better. Maybe they were betting too hard on seeing it in IMAX. Maybe.
It's expensive.
That would...
I can tell you that.
Yep. That may very well be the case. Ultimately, though...
Yes?
I was saying something. Yeah, no, yeah, because that's what I think Fantasia could be. Fantasia could be like Walt wanted it to be. It could be the concert feature. And honestly, another reason why Fantasia 2000 probably didn't do nearly as well is probably a reason the original Fantasia didn't do as well. The audience didn't understand it. And what I mean by that when I say...
No, I know what you mean. I see YouTube reactors reacting to these movies, and they're like, what is this all about? They don't get it's supposed to be art.
But what I really... Well, beyond being art... You know what you really need? You need movie theater participation for Fantasia to work. Because what you need is for everyone who comes to see the Fantasia show, you need to hand out a program like you were going to a concert. A program, here are all the musical compositions and the animators responsible. It's like you actually have basically like, hand out a program for the show, like you were going to a concert. The theater participation for doing...
I know a lot of movie theater workers who'd be like, nope.
Oh, sure, they'd be like, nope, but like, that's...
I'd be like, nope.
They actually included a program in the VHS of Fantasia 2000. Yeah, but the thing is, that doesn't work because you're at home watching a recording of a concert because it's on a smaller screen and stuff like that. When you go to the theater, you would get a program. Like, it's like, no, I get it. But sometimes those promotion things can be fun. And I honestly think this is one of those, and it's a Disney movie. You think people wouldn't want to get involved in like the idea... Considering I went to a concert recently, not all the time. Well, I'm talking about an orchestral concert, so... Unless what you did see was an orchestral concert, but like... I feel like that would enhance the experience, you know? I feel like it would enhance the experience to include handing out a program for the concert that you're about to see.
And you're too busy reading the program than actually watching what's going on.
No, see, the whole idea of the program would be that you can... Like, you can read the program...
Have something to read while you're waiting for it to start.
Yeah, read the program between the animated segments, right? While the introductions are happening. Because, like, the introductions could go on for, like, a couple minutes. Like, it's like, make the introductions last long enough for people to read the program, you know? In fact,
very practical.
In fact, you could have like some of the news segments be like, it's like,
Yes.
so like you could like, you may have been handed a program when you entered this theater to see this latest edition of Walt Disney's concert feature Fantasia. And if you didn't, you can always find it on our website. Yeah, you can always find it on the Disney websites and all that stuff. But anyway, beyond that, it's like you could have literally the people in the movie theater saying like, if you read your program, you'll notice that one of the animators listed for this segment, you know, or like, reading in your program, like, about the, if you look at the back of your program, you'll see some trivia about this segment. You'll see some trivia about this Fantasia segment featuring the Greek mythology. We decided to bring back this segment without censoring it, and to talk about what we decided to bring back this segment in its original form, and to explain why we have Black historian so and such, right? Like they could do some stuff with this, you know? They can actually play with the idea of handing out a program, and then the DVDs come with a program, or the digital copy gives you, or like you buy it on digital, and then it's like, here, download this PDF, and then you have a copy of the program. It's like, there's a lot of fun that could be had, like really leaning into the concert angle, and I'm talking a lot about it because I think it's a good idea. Honestly.
It's never just let's hear this song with you, is it? I'm not okay. I think we need to end this at some point.
It's never just hear this song? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's never just okay, let's hear this song in the next Fantasia with you, is it?
Because I want the creative energies of the animators and what pieces of music they listen to be their inspiration. I could say, I would love to see this piece of music, and then it's like, what would they do with it? I don't know. But at that point, why don't I just mull it over and create my own Fantasia segment, right? At that point.
And we need to end the stream at some point.
That's true. But yeah, no. So at the end of the day, they really should bring back the Fantasia concept, and I really think having theater and audience participation would actually make it more fun. It's like...
practical, yes.
I mean, there are some movies where you're encouraged to speak, and it's like you can always open the movie saying that you will be encouraged. You can always open the movie with one of those, hey, hello, I'm Disney Enter da-da-da-da-da, and before you watch the movie, we'd like to tell you a little bit about this production. It's like, so feel free to applaud. So please, applaud. So please, don't be afraid to applaud at the end of every number. This is a concert hall after all, and don't be afraid to interact with our hosts if they happen to address you directly. Otherwise, we hope you enjoy the show. You know? But anyway, that's gonna be it for my fantasizing about what I think would be the perfect Fantasia. So, thank you all so much for joining us on this, like, beautiful movie. And if you're viewing this after the fact, thanks for watching. And until next time, remember to take care, stay safe, and be kind in all that you do. Good night, everybody!